Well, welcome along, everybody, to Game of the Week this afternoon, 3 p.m. at Headingley Stadium. It will be the Leeds Rhinos taking on the Catalan Dragons in what should be a brilliant game of rugby league. Let's take a look at these two head-to-head. Last year, of course, Leeds Rhinos missing out on the playoffs. The Catalan Dragons went to the grand final, but of course, they were the bridesmaids, not the bride. They came head-to-head twice last year. Who can forget that round 26 game where Catalan ran riot in Perpignan, 61 points to nil, in a very dark day indeed for the Rhinos. But of course, in round number 6 in 2023, we were treated to a game on Channel 4 that had a little bit of everything. Let's relive that epic encounter. One of the most iconic moments in Super League in 2023, that swan dive of Harry Newman. He had a great game that day. Beautiful try from Rhys Martin. And a lot of people as well that shone that day for the Rhinos, the likes of, Blake Austin, Daryl Alferts and Richie Milo will not be playing in this game. Two of those, of course, have left the club. This is how the league table looks. As you can see, the Dragons very tightly there in second. Two really good opening wins for them against Warrington and London, respectively. And, of course, the Leeds Rhinos, 1 win, 1 loss for the Rhinos this season thus far. Players to watch in this one, we've gone for Ash Handley and we've gone for Jaden Nicarima. Handley, the highest meter maker in Super League after 2 rounds, and of course 3 tries for him. As for the Catalan Dragons, Jaden Nicarima. More on him in a moment's time. Both of the two coaches have selected their 21-man squads going into this afternoon's contest. Lockie Miller back for the Leeds Rhinos. That's great news for them, of course. No Mikola Jaleski, no Sam Lizzoni, and no McDonald either. 3 big absentees up front for the Leeds Rhinos. The good news is Tom Holroyd expected to make his first appearance as the season, as too is James McDonnell, who returns from his injury as well. As for the Catalan Dragons, Steve McNamara has got a hell of a headache. bags of quality and talent in that squad. Who is going to miss out? Who is going to make the squad? Well, as you would expect here on Super League Raw, we've had a bash at that for you. This is how we expect both teams maybe to line up this afternoon. A bit of fun. We may be wrong. We may be right. Who knows? But here we go. Lockie Miller to return at fullback. Really good performance from Headingley last week, of course, deputising for Miller. But Miller will be back. On the wings, Roberts and Ash Handley. In the centres will be Harry Newman and Paul Momorowski for the Rhinos. Brodie Croft, big improvement from Brodie Croft last week at Hull KR. He will need to do so again. And Frawley, who's really not quite hit his straps, I don't think. Is this the game where he really becomes the centre of the stage? Because of the problems up front, we think Mikael Gudemon will actually be the player that Rowan Smith puts up front alongside Tom Holroyd to start this game. Andy Hackers will be hooker, another player who really did improve week on week last week. In the second row, James Bentley and Reece Martin with the captain, Cameron Smith at loose forward. On the bench, Jared O'Connor, Justin Sangare, Leon Ruan, and the returning James McDonald. That's what we expect. As for the Catalan Dragons, well, as you will see, you Catalan Dragon fans, if you've already looked through those faces, we think Paul Seguer will be the player to miss out today at 3 o'clock. At fullback, Artur Borg, incredible talent. On the wings, Johnston and Davis. In the centres, Romano and Ikavalu. Theo Farge, with his 2 tries last week against London, he will be at standoff with Jordan Abdul at scrum half. Up front, Mike McMeekin. Don't forget, the In Conversation with Mike McMeekin is coming this Wednesday on our social media channels. That will premiere at 8 o'clock. Alongside him will be Julien Busquet, with Alrix de Costa expected to start again at hooker, with Mickey McAlorum still suspended. In the second row, well, Tariq Sims, it had to be. 2 tries already this season for Tariq. He's had 2 solid start games to the season. And alongside him, Bailey Sirenen, who again shone against the London Broncos. That is why we think Seguer may miss out, because Sirenen played so well against London. And at loose forward is Ben Garcia, the captain. On the bench, Jaden Nikarima, Chris Satai, Jordan Desiree, and Romain Neverett. That's how we expect the Catalan Dragons to line up. Now, we said about Nikarima, let's just have a quick player profile on this player for a moment. NRL, only played about 10 games in the NRL in his career, 27 years of age. He's played in both games for Steve McNamara, off the bench against Warrington and against London. But look at that, he's played 2 games, he's had 10 carries, and look at the destruction that he's caused. A try, 6 runs out of dummy half, 2 clean breaks, 9 tackle busts, 87 metres, 10 starts, 9 tackle busts, 2 breaks, a try. This kid, for me, is electric. He's come from nowhere. I think everybody in Super League is going to enjoy watching Jaden Nikarima. Everybody possibly accepts the crowd in the South Stand at Headingley today, because this kid off the bench could be the game breaker. You heard it here first. Right, on Super League Raw Weekly, the boys, we were joined, of course, this week by, as always, Greg Dixon, Steph Sale, and Craig Rigby, one of our Team Talk members, was invited to come on the show as well, and we discussed the game of the week. So there you go, the game of the week this week. We have chosen the Leeds Rhinos against the Catalan Dragons. That will be uploading for you on Saturday morning, a full half an hour's preview of the game, the usual stats, the usual thing that we do for game of the week. Why is it game of the week? Well, quite frankly, I think this is a big one for Rowan Smith. Won first game, lost the second, needs to strike back at Headingley. And as for the Catalan Dragons, well, 2 very, very impressive displays. If they was to go to Headingley and notch up a 3rd win, having beaten Warrington at home, and dispatch London, incredibly professional. But this, as a backup to that Warrington game, would show a real statement of intent for me for Catalan. I think these served up a great game, if you remember, on Channel 4 last year, the corresponding fixture as well. So I think without doubt it is the game of the week. This is how it looks. Of course, last year Leeds missed out the playoffs in the 8th, Catalan 2nd. As you look at it there, round 26, who can forget that? 61-0 in Perpignan in round 26 on the way to the playoffs. They were white hot that day with the Catalan Dragons. In round 6, who can forget Leeds coming up? You know, they were getting battered in that first half, if you remember, gents. And then, you know, brought themselves up off the canvas to win 32 points to 22. Current league position, 2nd and 7th. Current game odds, 10 to nothing. I mean, the bookies can't separate them, really. 10 to 11 Leeds, 20 to 21 the Catalan Dragons. As you can see there, the Rhinos A win and a loss, 2 wins. Ash Handley in exceptional, blistering form season. And I have to say, the player to watch, and like I say, we mentioned this to Mike Meekin today, get ready for the in-conversation with him, Jayden Nikorima. This guy, for me, could potentially be the signing of the season based on what I've seen already. He's got in blistering pace. He looks one hell of a player. The Rhinos, waiting on results for Nikolai Lenski's shoulder. He's a doubt, which is interesting. David Foster-2 is out until April. Morgan Gannon, 3 months, he's gone. Darrell Alfertz, he's gone. James McDonald and Tom Allroyd missed the opening 2 games, but could be back for this one. Of course, we found out tonight, no Sam Lizone. James Donaldson as well, I think. I've not heard that his ban has been overturned, so he's not going to be there. As for the Catalan Dragons, Takiaho, he's still out. Manu Mao, he's out. Tangai's in and out. And, of course, Paul Seguer and Mickey McAloran are still suspended going into this one. Right, I think, Steph, it's your turn. Game of the week? Should be.
Yeah, I think it could have been. I think the bans and the suspensions and the injuries are going to have a big effect on this one. Specifically Donaldson and Lissoni for Leeds, I think are going to be massive losses for them. When you're going against a pack like Catalan, it's going to be a massive loss for them, definitely. I went Catalan 9-17 on this one. I think it could protect. I don't know if I'm allowed to amend my thing, but it is at Leeds, isn't it? It's at Leeds.
It's at Leeds, yeah.
No, I'll keep it at 9-17. I think there's potential for Catalan to run away with it based on the way that just Catalan have been playing. They've been unbelievable, and Leeds, they're still there or thereabouts for me, kind of thing. I think, but with those players out, I can only see Catalan winning, and I think the odds there from going back to the sponsor, I'm sure he's going to be having some good tips on that one. I think there's some money to be made on this game.
Coming to yourself, Craig. You mentioned about Saints. I mean, in our previous shows for the season, we were a bit what we were going to get with Catalan this year. With the outs and the ins, etc. But you mentioned Saints. Doesn't look like Steve McNamara's men are going far from you either.
No, I completely agree. I think they've been completely professional. Everything's rounded. They're getting the wins, even though not particularly playing at their Catalan best. I think Leeds are still a team in transition under Rowan. I think they're getting there. I think by the back end of the year, we're going to see a different Leeds side. I think the typical Leeds coming in strong at the end of the year, but I think they're growing every game and they're getting better. But for me, even with the losses for Leeds, I'm seeing Cats 9-17 as well.
You're seeing Cats 9-17. Fair enough. Greg, your thoughts on Catalan Dragons, mate, Leeds?
I think it's going to be quite tight, actually. I've gone Catalan 1-8. I don't know if Catalan have been home this week or whether they've been based over here.
No, they've been in France.
Have they gone back?
Yeah.
In that case, yeah, travelling back and travelling there and travelling back. I know it's not a great ordeal, but it will have disrupted a little bit of training. I always think it's a little unfair for Catalan that they get 2 away games on the bounce. I think Catalan are going to win 1-8.
Your thoughts on Nikorima, mate? Been impressed?
Awesome. He looks awesome.
Him and Morg, the pace is just frightening.
Yeah. I mean, he's quite a big lad as well, isn't he? I was surprised.
Yeah.
Nick could very well be the star of Super League this year.
He could have come from absolutely nowhere and still the show if Catalan go well. Gary Schofield, he sees it 9-17. I see it Catalan 9-17. Joel sees it Catalan 1-8, as do you. So all Catalan, everybody's gone Catalan. The fans forum have gone to Catalan 9-17. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it serves up a great treat. Last year's fixture was really, really good. Really enjoyed that game last year on Channel 4. Let's hope it is just as good. Right, also, great conversation there with the boys on Tuesday night on Super League Raw Weekly. We were back, of course, at 8 p.m. this Tuesday night for more Super League Raw Weekly. Join myself and the boys and the team to discuss all things round 3 and looking ahead to round 4 live at 8 p.m. across Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Right, we're going to get into a bit more analysis, but before we do, let's have a word from our sponsors. Rugby League 3/4.
Love that crunch. bit of spice.
Great to have their support at Rugby League Three Quarters. If you like a punt, of course, gamble responsibly. Get over there. It's a great community, talking all the value in the markets, having fun along the way. Go over to Rugby League Three Quarters. Right, let's get into a little bit more analysis going into this afternoon's game, starting with the middle unit. As you can see, this is who we've selected: Holroyd, Leon Ruan, Sangeri and Gudamon for the Leeds Rhinos. Collectively, they're averaging about 201 metres a game. If you compare that to the enforcers, look at this for a pack. Julien Busquet, Chris Satai, Jordan Desiree and Mike McMeekin, 418 metres per game. That, for me, says that Leeds desperately need to play this game on the edges. They're not going to trouble the Catalan Dragons down the middle. That is crystal clear. So what of the three quarters then? Well, Headingley, Harry Newman, 2 tries for Newman last year in this fixture. Paul Momorowski, who for me still has to get into his groove. And of course, Roberts, who is deputising for the problems they have on the wing. Davy Foster is still out, as is Darrell Alfert. We're comparing them to the quartet of Tom Davis, Matt Ikevalu, Arthur Romano, and of course Tom Johnston. And look at the difference. And it's quite interesting, actually. Whilst the advantage on meters is going with the Catalan Dragons, 499 playing 365. Interesting that Ash Handley alone in 2 games has done more meters than the collective as an average. It's quite interesting. Shows what great form Ash Handley's in, doesn't it? But look at the tries. 4 tries for the Leeds Rhinos out of the three quarters. 3, of course, of those going to Ash Handley, 1 to Harry Newman. Not a single try yet for the three-quarter line of the Catalan Dragons. Who would have thought that coming into this game? Certainly not me. So, like I say, there's no doubt about it. Leeds do have real good strike on the edges, especially on that left-hand side. That, for me, is if Leeds are going to win it, is where they will win it more than likely. There is, of course, another key battle, and that key battle is between the 2 captains, Cameron Smith and Ben Garcia. We love these 2 players at Super League Raw. Quality loose forwards. A modern day loose forward, the pair of them. Of course, the advantage on age and experience goes the way of Ben Garcia. 185 Super League appearances now for Ben, compared to Cameron Smith's 114. In their careers thus far in Super League alone, 32 tries to 15. Their average tackling per game, both of them getting in and around it. Cam Smith especially, 38 tackles a game. He averages to 30 for Ben Garcia. Carries, Cam Smith likes to get on the ball more. He does play a lot of the time as a third halfback, doesn't he? Whereas Ben Garcia does a lot of good work in and around, connecting the halfbacks to the edges. Cam Smith is more of a third halfback a lot of the time, and that is why he likes to get his hands on the ball a little bit more. 92 metres his average as a consequence of that, to Ben Garcia's 76. Both of these 2 players on their day are match winners. We know that. So this, for me, is a real key battle. I guess we haven't even talked about the halfbacks too much in this one. I think that is going to be a battle all of its own. But I had to pick out where I thought a key battle was, and I think the 2 captains, not only what they do on the field of play, but also what they do in terms of their talking to the team, encouragement of the team, how they organise the team. In games like this, it is so vitally important that they get that right. So those are our key battles. That's how we see it. Catalan, they will come down the middle, and if they get on top and are allowed to get on top, they could be, away, up over the hill and far away. As for the Leeds Rhinos, for me, they have to go to the edges. Cam Smith needs to help to his 2 halfbacks in Brodie Croft and Frawley to get the ball out to the edges as quickly as possible, so the likes of Ash Handley can do their thing. Right, let's get some word now from inside the camps.
We got heaps of improvement in us. We're a relatively new group with key players, but I think we actually played pretty solid footy last week. We got beaten by a couple of deflections. The game could have easily gone the other way on a swamp, and this week we'll be playing on a proper track that doesn't give way. That I think we're able to express ourselves a bit more and play some upbeat upbeat rugby. So our D was really good last week, I thought. Just had a couple of moments there with a few deflections that sort of let us down, but we've conceded one line break in 2 weeks, so we're building a base there on not presenting the opposition with many opportunities.
I still got a long way to go in terms of improvement. I've only just started gelling with the boys. I know we worked hard during pre-season, but with a new squad, we're still building our combinations together and getting used to how we all play with each other. So, I feel we're just building well. I'm looking forward to it, just like any other match. Again, I want to improve and keep building. My goal coming here was to be the best player I can be, and challenge myself. Earn the respect of my teammates downstairs. And they've been such good blokes so far. And I think as the year goes on, I'll definitely keep improving. Yeah. The most important for me is the boys enjoy playing with me, and them knowing that I have their back in the field. That's what gives me satisfaction and happiness. Yeah, I think they're class players. All Jordan and Theo, they've been running well. Even with Jaden, with speed. It's definitely new. I've been a team that hasn't been at the top of the tree, and with the Dragons, they've been at the top for the last 4 or 5 years. So such an experience, learning a lot from them and the staff, and for me, I'm just happy to play football.
They've been super impressive the first 2 games. Steve Mack's done a tremendous job there over a long period of time at being at the top of the table and being very consistent. And the thing that he's been able to do is no matter who's come or gone from the club, that they've maintained their standards, and their DNA is still very prominent. We've had some great clashes with Catalans over the last couple of years. Last year it was similar time of the year, a little bit later, a couple of rounds later. But with the sun out, which it's forecast to do again this weekend, last year was a cracking game, one of the better games of the season, I thought. And we hope to have a good open contest against them and really challenge and test ourselves against a proven successful club over the last 5 or 6 years.
There's no doubt about it. That, for me, was the Leeds Rhinos' best performance at home at Headingley against Catalan last year. As for Steve McNamara's men, I think Steve McNamara now, the way he's talking, very much sees his side at the top table in Super League. They will want to go 3 from 3 against with this win against the Leeds Rhinos. And for me, quite frankly, it's very, very difficult to not see that happening. Chris Satai, a great example there. He's gone over from Hull FC this season. And over the first 2 rounds, perhaps one of the top 2 most consistent prop forwards. His meter making has been brutal already. Chris Satai making an impression at the south of France. Right, let's remind ourselves then how the team see this game going. Gary Schofield in League Express. Get your League Express every Monday to get all the information from Martin Sadler and his team. 9-17, Gary Schofield has gone, as have I, as too as Steph Sale and the Fans Forum. The only difference being Greg and Joel, they see this a tighter game. Catalan 1-8, but all of us going the way of the Catalan Dragons. Like Steph said in Super League Raw Weekly, that loss of Sam Lizone and Mikel Agileschi especially really does give an advantage to the Catalan Dragons down the middle. But like I say, don't count out Leeds. They have it on the edges. If they can play an expansive game, if it is a dry track, that's what Rowan Smith just said, then who knows? And like Rowan Smith also said in his press conference, they've only had 1 line break against them in 2 rounds of rugby league. So they're going into this game pretty confident. To see the full Rowan Smith press conference, go over to the Leeds Rhinos YouTube channel. Also go over to the Catalan Dragons YouTube channel, and you can see more interviews from their players before this game. Right, let's now take a look finally at the match odds. As we've already said, it is so tight. The bookies can't split these. There's a lot of value floating about around the Leeds Rhinos and Catalan Dragons team. Get over to Rugby League 3/4, have a look, see what they've got to say, but do gamble responsibly. To win in 80 minutes, 10-11, the Leeds Rhinos, 20-21, Catalan Dragons. Look at the value for first try scorers. Tom Johnston, the top try scorer in Super League 2023, 7-1 odds for first try. That's value, isn't it? Ash Handley, 6-1. 13-point margin. if you fancy the Leeds Rhinos, 3-1 to win by over 13 points. As for the Catalan Dragons, and this again I think is a bit of value, 18-5 based on the way we think the game may go. And also a bit of value in the first try scorer. We know that second rows can be potent on the edges. James Bentley is 28-1, and the 2 try scoring Tarek Sims is 33-1. So there you go, a couple of things there for you to consider. Who knows what's going to happen today at 3 o'clock? But these two teams need no introduction. For Rowan Smith, he desperately needs to get back to winning ways. He doesn't want an up and down type of season like last year. They were right in the grind against Hull KR for long periods. They will want to bounce back on home soil like they did, of course, in round number 1 against Salford. As for the Catalan Dragons, they are the real deal. There's no doubt about that. Dispatching Warrington, professional against London. This could be a statement of intent for the Catalan Dragons this afternoon. There's players of quality right throughout the field. Brodie Croft, Andy Ackers, and Harry Newman, Lockie Miller, Ash Handley on one side. On the other side, Artur Moore, Jaden, Nick Harima. Oh, get ready for that boy. He's going to light up the field of play, no doubt. Tom Johnson. We like a bit of Artur Romano. We know what Jordan Abdul can do with that trusty boot of his. There's quality players on the field of play. Let's hope we get another classic like last year's on Channel 4. That has been Game of the Week. We will be back next week with round 4's Game of the Week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you're on your sofas, 3 o'clock this afternoon, Leeds Rhinos against the Catalan Dragons. That's been Super League Report Game of the Week. Bye for now, folks. All the best.